people got very sad yesterday, I heard. Several reports came to me. Couldn't sleep. Was in my room the rest of the day. What's going on? Etc., etc. Sometimes the clearing takes place. Being empathetic, we listen to somebody else's story and there is a response that happens. It happens in two ways. First, we want to reach out and we feel for them, but truly there is no them, there is no us. It's all one. So another's pain is always ready to trigger our own. And the catharsis is good. It's very nice. It's nice also to give it an expiry date for the catharsis. 12 to 1:30. How long is this? Yeah. I went. And then, I leave it behind here because you see, that's why it's called garden platform. It has all the gurus behind us and the devatas on all the side of us. They can take everything. Yes. Give it here, leave it here, and then just hit the popsicles. The boutique is open. Hit the beach. Have fun. Okay? Retail therapy is underrated. Yes. Yeah. Sadness comes. It comes in order to go. So we can let it go. We don't have to hold on to it because when the sadness attacks, and it's a guerrilla warfare. It doesn't tell you when it's coming. You have heard the term guerrilla warfare? Yeah? Yeah. So guerrilla warfare is an Indian term where this was associated with Maharaja Shivaji in Maharashtra, in central India. And when he was defeating all the marauders, he was just going straight at them, but they had better artillery, they had better weaponry, they had everything. And it is said that he just was defeated badly, so much so that he was bleeding and all his armory was torn away from him. He looked like a regular soldier. So he just went, and a lady of the house in front of which house he was passing took pity on him and gave him khichdi. Who doesn't know what khichdi is? Great. Oh, you don't know? Okay, it's a rice and dal cooked mixture. Okay, so it's very nutritious because it is complete protein food. So she made khichdi and put some ghee on it, clarified butter, hot, gave it to him, eat. She thought he was a regular soldier. And then he was so hungry, he put his hands right in the center of it. Ghee was hot, khichdi was hotter still, and he burned his fingers. Ow, 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 he said. And the lady of the house said, "You are as stupid as our king Shivaji." Who doesn't know a simple thing? That to attack an enemy as devious as the people he's fighting, he has to go from the sides. It is like eating the khichdi. The sides of the bowl will cool first, because there is less amount there. So you just go from the sides, you attack, and then you spiral inwards. Then make the kill. And with a bent head, he thanked her. She taught him not only how to eat the khichdi, but how to fight the war. So guerrilla warfare means you hide in the bushes and then attack on the sides. You attack from the rear. Okay? And then why were we talking about guerrilla warfare? Because we are talking about sorrow. Sorrow is an expert in guerrilla warfare. It attacks from the side. It attacks from behind when you're not expecting it. And so you know what's happening. But thanks to this, the sadhana that one does, thanks to the teachings, mixture of the teaching and the sadhana gives one a little inner space. It's not outer space, it's inner space. And thanks to this inner space, what are we able to do? We are able to see that if the tears are flowing, what is happening if the tears are flowing? It's not I am sad. What am I then? I am the observer of the sorrow happening inside. If you are the observer, you cannot be the sadness. It's not possible. It's just not possible. So I am the sakshin. Sakshi means observer, the witness. So I witness the sorrow and I say, oh, this time you are coming on really strong. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why you are so triggered. You talk to the sorrow, but from the place of not identifying with it. And then you find that it makes a few noises and then it goes away, leaving you unaffected. This is a new sadhana. This is to be one with Ananda all the time. Okay? Yeah. So light-hearted questions, please. First one. He had his hand up first. Yes.
Yeah, it's a light-hearted question. It's a very basic question that relates to meditation.
Yes.
That is reposing in the self.
Reposing in the self, yes.
So, I observe that sometimes there is in meditation, there's more doing than being.
Yeah.
And then Patanjali gave us a wonderful description how to do that. And he talked about dharana. Now,
Yes.
these are all these instructions, but then how do you bring it down? How do you make it yours? How do you transition from the doing to the being to the reposing in the self?
Reposing in the self is not so much meditation. We have a special word for it. It is called contemplation. And only somebody who is contemplative can contemplate. And you cannot force somebody to be contemplative. So it is something that happens on its own. The meditation is a precursor to contemplation. The meditation has the power of making one a contemplative being. In the beginning, we force ourselves to sit. Oh my God, how much time? How long I have to do this? Oh no, how much time it is? Open one eye, see the watch. After a while, when one doesn't meditate, one sees the effects of not meditating. What happens? All the things that shouldn't happen, happen. Inside there is a tsunami. And one finds that one is more reactive, less present, less focused. This is what one finds. And so therefore, one says, you know what, even though I'm watching the time and sitting forcibly, it is having some effect. Let me sit. All I have to do is sit and say the mantra. Let me do that. And sitting and saying the mantra naturally evolves into a yearning to just be one with oneself, to be oneself. That is what is called reposing in oneself, reposing in the self. So what does it look like? it is described actively in the second chapter as Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha, Lord Krishna says. The one who is happy being themselves by themselves. They don't need any other thing from outside. Not music, not friends, not foes. Sometimes we, even though we don't want friends, we want enemies. Yeah, we want something to, some like what is that called? That bag. What kind of bag? Punching bag. Yes. How could I forget that? Yes. Except here, the punching bag is a person or a few people. Okay. Yeah. After that, one feels hungry to eat and one feels normal after punching. So, the meditation helps to withdraw from all that, from all those kinds of patterned behaviors, and I can just sit calmly like the jnani. So, here is a baby jnani practice. This is a baby enlightened sage practice. This is the jnani wannabe, not yet a jnani. So, what does the jnani wannabe do? Just we learn to just be with oneself without needing to have external stimulation in order to be okay. This can take two forms. One is a kind of meditation called Shabda Anuviddha Savikalpa Samadhi. Savikalpa Samadhi, Samadhi in which thoughts are allowed. Savikalpa Samadhi. Shabda Anuviddha Savikalpa Samadhi. Anuviddha means following. Shabda, sounds. Because even if you are in the Himalayas, there will be some sounds, correct? Yeah, some sounds will be there. Whoosh, whoosh of the wind will be there. Some Himalayan birds will be there. And then so many things will be there. Other sadhus saying Om Namah Shivaya, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna will be there. My eyes, I hear all the sounds, and then the mind is allowed to observe the sound, to watch the sound, to even follow the sound, not to follow the sound like, oh, I wonder where it is coming from. That's a distraction. But follow the sound in the sense of, like, this sound is there because my ears are there. And why are my ears able to pick up this sound? My ears are able to pick up this sound because they are nothing but blessed by consciousness. Nay, they are consciousness. And so, therefore, in enjoying the sound, I am Satchidananda. What is the sound? The correct answer is Satchidananda for whatever I ask. Okay? Yeah. What is the sound? Satchidananda, what am I? Satchidananda, what is the ear? Satchidananda, what is the object of hearing? Satchidananda. Right there is a subject-object confluence, and in that there is happiness, that oneness. But it is a oneness that's not even experienced. It is just noted, and then I go to the next sound. It's not supposed to be sat and enjoyed. This is a technique. This is a technique. Because I can go deeper. That's why this is a technique. This is called Shabda Anuviddha Savikalpa Samadhi. This is one type of samadhi, one type of meditation, contemplation. The second kind, there's also a third kind, but the second kind is this. The second kind is Drishya Anuviddha Savikalpa Samadhi. It's an open eye meditation. From this closed eye meditation, where I am looking at every sound as the truth of myself. Anything that I hear, I see consciousness. I am aware of that awareness. And I am that awareness. There's something beautiful in that. All sadness stops right there, at the door of this awareness. And then I graduate to open eye meditation. First I practice open eye meditation sitting in one place. Then I graduate to walking and meditating. Then No matter where I am, no matter what I am doing, wherever the mind goes, there is the samadhi. Yatra yatra mano yati, tatra tatra samadhayah. So what is this drishyānuviddha? Same thing like hearing, but now I look at the universe. Let's say I'm walking, taking a walk here in the ashram. Look at the tree. And the tree is what? First it is tree. Oh, wonder what tree it is. Wonder what species. Wonder what fruit it gives. I don't go there. That is a very boring place to go, really. And a very distracting place to go because I'm getting caught up in the name and form. I want to abstract from the name and form. I want to be one with the whole. I want to practice this nididhyasana. I want to just be aware of the oneness. So I say, tree, it is none other than me. It breathes, I breathe. And then it is alive, I am alive. It is swaying in the wind. I too can sway in the wind. These are the thoughts to have. That's why, yoga is so effective because we see all the poses. There is a tree pose. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get into the spirit of that very tree. When you're standing on one leg with the other one folded and the namaste in the front with the hands outstretched. That is exactly what one is supposed to do. You inhabit the tree to see that it is no different from me. So this we do with everything that I see. I see a tree, I see the room. The room is nothing but an object of my awareness, and the room is just awareness itself, and I am that awareness, untouched by anything I see. Everything I see is non-separate from me. Drishya anuviddha savikalpa samadhi. Then there is also repeating the Mahavakya, the words of the Upanishad that transform, one repeating that after knowing the meaning of it. Like if you don't know the meaning of Tattvamasi, if you're just saying Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi all day long, it's like saying gobbledygook, same thing. It's no difference, yeah. I should know the meaning and then I revel in the meaning. And what is the meaning? Myself. It all is pointing to myself, so I revel in myself. That is how one learns to just be. You don't even need to close the eyes. You can just be. Yes. She was next. After that, Shivam, what is your name back there? Yes. What? Couldn't hear. Daniel, yes. Yeah. So Shivam and then Daniel. Yeah.
Thank you. You in the satsang you mentioned that this is all a dream, and I wondered, when I dream, sometimes it seems even more real than than this reality. So I wonder, is this all a dream?
It's like a dream. I wouldn't say it's all a dream, because then that would make us trapped in Ishvara's dream. Not a fun thought. We liken the Jagat to a dream because it is projected and it is sustained and it is withdrawn by that awareness which is the same as my awareness. So it's like a dream. It's not a dream because you have your life, everybody has their karma, everybody has a parentage, everybody has certain swadharma, things to do. Places to see, no, again wrong. Places to go, people to see, yes. So we have our things to do. And so we can enjoy all this very, very nicely if we know that it is dream-like in the sense that it is not the ultimate reality, it's a dependent reality. This is what mithya means. Like even the pot is dependent upon clay. This whole jagat is dependent upon me. Who is? Abba. Yes.
Pranam Swaminiji.
Om.
I have a question about, we talk about moving from our subjective reality to the world of the jiva to the world of Bhagavan. I'm wondering where that distinction is, because if we, for example, think of the field of psychology and there being, even the subjective world is following an order. And so
I
where
couldn't
does
understand. Even the subjective world?
follows the psychological order?
Yes.
So how do we make the distinction between the world of the jiva versus the world of Ishvara?
It's a good question. We don't, the subjective world, let's say the machinations of somebody's mind. The machination of my own mind is not outside the scope of the psychological order, which is a manifestation of God. So, supposing somebody is angry, there is a reason, correct? You ask the person, do you like to be angry? What will they say? Yes. No. Nobody will say yes. They will say, absolutely not. I don't like to be angry. I don't want to be angry. Yet I find myself outraged. There is a reason. Anger has a reason. And in fact, the Bhagavad Gita gives the reason. Whenever what I want is inhibited, or when I perceive somebody to be in the way of what I want, anger is the result. And that somebody can be God, that somebody can be karma, that somebody can be somebody who got my promotion. Possible. That is when I am outraged. I'm very angry because things are not going my way. This is what anger is. But then, when I look at the root of anger, then it is very clear. It's not just my anger is because I didn't get my way. Your anger is also because you didn't get your way. His anger is because he didn't get his way. Her anger is because she didn't get her way. Their anger is because they didn't get their way. This is how it is. So then it becomes a psychological order. This is why it's a law. That is why one is able to study it. That is why one can offer anger management classes, because it doesn't just work on one person, it works on everybody, because there is a rule, there is a law. That I am angry, Ishvara's creation, Ishvara Srishti. That because of my anger I target somebody or I hurt myself, that is my own Srishti. You can't say, Ishvara is making me do this. No. Why? Because you have free will. You have free will. The tiger doesn't. When the tiger doesn't get, when the tiger draws together and meditate. It's just not able to do that. Is it now? No. If you see a meditating tiger, please take it to the hospital quickly. Something is wrong. It's not behaving according to its nature at all. And so therefore, the anger is there, is given. The situations that make me angry, given. But along with those two givens is a very important given. What is that? Please don't say Satchidananda, okay? Yeah. So, along with the anger, the ability to overcome it, the desire to overcome it, and the free will to commit to overcome it, also given. The ability to not target somebody else because I'm angry, is also given. It is latent within me. I have the responsibility because I have free will. I'm not a tiger, I'm not a donkey. And so I have the free will to desire to do this. Once the desire is there, I have the wherewithal to look to be responsible for my anger or my outburst, and then do something about it. That which is needed to be done, I do. That is also what? Ishvara Srishti. So how come we are prioritizing? It's easy to say that because I got mad at you, it is Ishvara's creation. This is also Ishvara's creation. The ability to do something about it is also Ishvara's creation. I have to take that because I'm a thinking human being with a free will. And I have accountability for my actions. That is how it goes. Daniel. Then you have a question? No? Okay. Yeah. Daniel and then Jana.
Hey, so last night it was either last night or this morning, you had mentioned Kali Yuga and Dwapar Yuga and stuff. There's various lineages within Sanatana Dharma and not that talk about how there's a new age coming. They've said that in the 19th century, the 20th century, the 21st century. So there's not a lot of clarity about the transition between a Kali Yuga and a Dwapar Yuga. I was wondering if you could talk about the yugas and if there is or is not a transition, and if it's already happened or if it's happening. I'm not too attached to whether, like, if it's happening now. It's just if you could clarify, like, how that would work and what your take on it is.
Yes, yes. You know, I don't deal with new age, okay? Yeah. I deal with everything ancient. Yeah. So, new age, I don't know what they may be saying. But according to the Hindu almanac, we have 4 huge blocks of times called yugas. So Kali Yuga, what we are currently in according to most calculations, is 436,000 years only. Okay? Yeah. That's all. That's all we have to get through. And then we'll be fine. We are still in the first quarter, yes. Sorry to disappoint, but we are still in the first quarter. 3/4 of it is left according to many calculations, most people's calculations. How do we know we are in the first quarter? Because when we do the puja, if you watch closely, if we do, I'm sure they did it during at the Homa. You know, I was in Nirvikalpa Samadhi during the Homa, so I did not come because I had just come from California and I needed to sleep. And so this, in the Homa also, you have what is called an intentionality. The priest will do this, the Swamis will be asked to keep some flowers and some rice in the hand, and then you put it in the left hand, you seal the deal by saying, on this particular day, at this particular time, I'm doing this for the sake of ATTC students, TTC students, let everything go well, Om Namah Shivaya, etc., etc. And then you also give the date and time. You not only give your address to God, because there are many people with your name. So how do you should not get, God should not get confused. Yeah. Karen, so many Karens, okay? And then so therefore God should not get confused. So therefore you will say, I am the Karen of this place, but right now sitting in the Bahamas, sitting here. Yeah, that's all. Shanti. And then, so the forces were agreeing with us. That's all it is. Yes, they were saying, yes, continue. So then we say, hey, on this particular day, we give the whole date, down to the minute. We have the tithi, and then and even the tithi is not enough. The yoga, the karana, all these things. We give, this is the time, this is the address, and this is what I'm going to be doing. And this is exactly, this is me doing this for the sake of world peace, or for the sake of my own peace of mind, whatever it is. Then we say, Kali Yuge Prathame Pade. Kali Yuga means in Kali Yuga. Prathame Pade means the first quarter. This is what my grandfather said. This is what his grandfather said. This is what her grandmother said. This is what her great grandmother said. This is what even Adi Shankara said. When Adi Shankara is what? 6th century BC. Okay, yeah. So this is going to take a while. All right, we are here for a while. So this is Kali Yuga, 436,000 years. Then it is called Dwapara because you double that. You double that. Oh, but a few other little Kali Yuga trivia. Okay. So we have a bull called Dharma bull. In the Satya Yuga, which I'll come to presently, it is standing on all 4 legs. Peaceful, happy. In Kali Yuga, it is standing on 1 leg. Meaning, dharma is out the door. The bull is teetering, tottering from this side to that side, because who can balance on 1 leg? But this poor dharma is sacrificed. There is too much of cutting corners. There is too much of ends justifying the means. There is too much of adharma, sorrow, pain, etc. This is Kali Yuga. Then you multiply 436 into 2. Who is good at mathematics? Okay. And whatever number you get, that is the age of Dwapara Yuga. See, we shouldn't complain about Kali Yuga. It is the smallest Yuga. Tiny Yuga it is. And then Dwapara Yuga is all about wonderful things. It's a techno Yuga. You have a lot of technological advances. And in fact, by some calculations, we are already in the Dwapara Yuga. When we are talking of nanoparticles, micro this, nanosecond, attosecond, the person who got the Nobel Prize, like this. When we are talking, we are already talking Dwapara Yuga kind of a thing. Because all our equipment, our technology is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and more ubiquitous. In Dwapara Yuga, there is time travel. So this is something to look forward to if this happens. Dwapara Yuga, if this happens this time around also, we have to see. And then multiply 436,000 into 3. You get the age of the duration, the tenure of what is called Treta Yuga. What happens in Treta Yuga? Little more. This is the age of the, what is that? Ramayana. More dharmic. In the Dwapara Yuga, the Dharma bull is standing on 2 legs. In the Treta Yuga, what is your guess? 3. I'm glad nobody said Satchidananda. Okay, so Treta Yuga, the bull is standing on 3 legs. Dharma is little more stable. Then finally, multiply 436,000 into 4. 3 we already did, that is Treta Yuga. Multiply that into 4 and we get the final Satya Yuga. Where it's must have been very boring. Nobody tells a lie. Nobody does anything wrong. Everybody is very happy. I think people from the Kali Yuga, if we are teletransported there, we will just come back here. We'll say, no, I'm too used to the strife and the drama. All the time Rama without drama is boring. People in Kali Yuga are wedded to drama. That is why we are here. So, yeah, that is why we are born here. Drama king everybody is, drama queen everybody is. So in Satya Yuga, no drama, only Rama. Okay, the D is dropped. And so then it is for So many thousands and thousands of years, and all together it makes one kalpa. Now, according to the guru of Swami Paramahamsa Yogananda, whose name was Sri Yukteswara Swami, Sri Yukteswara Giri Swamiji said, he was a great mathematician and he made all these calculations, and Sri Yukteswar ji said that we are already in Dwapara Yuga. And his calculations are really very, very wonderful. He said we have missed a number of years here and there, and he recalculated everything. According to him, we are already in Dwapara Yuga. So the change has just taken place, or it's about to take place, doesn't matter, but we feel it. We feel that there is a transition. And that's a wonderful thing, because times of transition are times of great spiritual growth. So we welcome this time, whether we call it Kali or Dwapara, doesn't matter.
Hi. This is kind of mundane, but maybe it's important too. If you know who you want to be and how you want to be on a day-to-day basis, but then you don't do it. For example, you don't get up in the morning and do a sun salutation. You go off and have your coffee instead. You don't go to bed with your dishes done sometimes because you don't feel like it. I think that's what it's like. You don't feel like it. And I don't know what that's all about other than laziness. I don't know what it's about and how to get around it.
Yeah, this feel like it sometimes is a problem, correct. When I first came to this country, somebody said, one married couple, they said, we'll have, you just come, we'll have a potluck. So I was very excited. I said, okay, I will cook and then I took the food. I had to take 2 buses to their house. So I took 2 buses to their house, knocked on the door. Nobody opened. Knocked on the door, nobody. I said, how could, because for me, if I invite somebody, I don't forget I have invited them. So I thought something is wrong. I almost called 911. So I said, then, because I could hear some, like these few sounds, scraping sounds, but no door open. Then I just sort of said, okay, fine, retraced my step, took bus number 2 and then bus number 1 and went back to my place. And the next day they greeted me with no guilt at all and nothing. They were like, hi, how are you? And I said, well, I thought maybe I have made a mistake. Maybe I went on the wrong day or what. I said, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe I was at your place at the wrong day, but I thought we were going to meet for dinner. And they said, oh, really? Oh, forgot. I said, yeah, that's okay, but I knocked on the door for a very long time. And they said, yeah, oh, that was you. I said, yes, that was me. Then I could not, I was so curious. I could not help asking, why didn't you open the door? And the answer was, we didn't feel like it. We didn't feel like it. I said, okay. So, that's a feeling. So there is, no harm. I didn't hold a grudge because, okay, they didn't feel like it. It's okay. No problem. What do you do, Yeah. And then I didn't have to cook for a week. So... So, when we start studying this knowledge, when we start studying Atma Jnanam, self-knowledge, Vedanta, we understand that there is a choice to not go with the feelings, number 1. That there is that inner space that we have been talking about. That there are, in fact, two beings. Sometimes there are more than two, but I don't want to overwhelm you. Okay, so we'll just start with two. There's at least two beings. In this example, the one that, what was the one? The one that wanted to do the dishes and the one that said no, you know. The sink is young, let it pile up. Let it pile up. I don't feel like doing the dishes. So there are obviously two entities. And these two entities are, it's not that one of them is the devil or evil or something like that. We don't have devil. We don't have any other thing. It's all me. It's all different articulations of this I. The one is the one that is very close to how I like to be, what is instinctively and intuitively right for me. It is close to the flow that we call God. And I find that whenever I listen to this being, I feel conflict free. I feel I have a shanti in my heart. Whenever I do not listen to this being, I have ashanti. What is ashanti? Satchidananda. No. Ashanti is distress, a sense of ill-being, disturbance. Shanti is peace. Ashanti is disturbance. I find myself disturbed. Yet, as though by some force, I more often than not listen to the being that causes disturbance rather to the being who is the cause for peace. Why? This is not a new question. This is an age-old question asked by Arjuna 5,000 years ago in the 36th verse of the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Atha kena prayuktena papam charati purushah anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitah. Oh Lord Krishna, why is it? He doesn't talk about himself. He just says just people in general, but he's meaning himself. Because he's the one who doesn't want to fight the war, which is the right thing to do. And so he says, for which reason, O Lord, prayuktena, it's almost like somebody has a cattle prong behind me and is leading me to doing the wrong things. When I know I want to do the right thing, when my heart desires to do the right thing, I just don't do it. This is how I fall into papa. Of course, washing dishes is not a papa, really. Unless you're living in somebody's house and, then little small papa is there. But otherwise, it's not a papa. But still, there is a sense of ill-being. I have not done what I'm supposed to have done. Feeling is there. Or I told myself I will meditate, but here I am not meditating, whatever it is. Whatever things I have set for myself, I'm not doing. And so why do I listen to this other being? Anichannapi, even though I don't want to. Baladiva niyojita, have been forced to do that. Why? Arjuna's question. Your question is Arjuna's question. And that's why we love Arjuna so much, because he asks all the things that we cannot ask. And so the Lord responds very beautifully. Kama eshaha, krodha eshaha, rajoguna samudbhavaha, mahashanaha, mahapapma, vidhi enam vairinam. He says two things. One is kama. What is kama? Desire. Desire is Bhagavan, okay? So what is this kama? This kama is Bhagavan, generally speaking, but when it takes me away from what is correct, it is not Bhagavan. It is me. It is my own projection. So there are two kinds of kamas. One is a binding want, and the other one is a free want. A free want is such, the example is very clear. Some people went to the boutique not knowing it was closed in the last 2 days. They thought they'll go and have some treats. What was that? Some squares were there. Yeah. Huh? Some chocolate covered something. Peanut butter squares were there. And then some people thought, I'll go and enjoy that. Closed board. I am coming back. Okay, when is it going to open? Okay, I'll just set my stopwatch and then I'll go back to my room. Nothing wrong. That's done. That's over. Right? Because it's a free want. It would have been nice to have a peanut square in my life. It would have It would have been wonderful to say, hello, peanut square, and then become one with it. But that was not meant to be. No problem. Scenario number 1, okay? So person number 2 goes to the same shop, finding it closed, kicks the door down, okay? That means what? That means it's a binding want. If the peanut square does not come into my life, then I am a wreck and a mess. These are the kinds of wants that the Lord is talking about in his answer. Kama eshaha, this kind of a kama, which leads to krodha, which we have already talked about as a want that is a binding want. When I do not get the binding want, what happens? It turns into anger. It comes from rajoguna, from rajas. Too much, what is that? Energy, too much restlessness. Need to calm down, that rajas. Run around the block. Yeah, that reduces rajas. Jump up and down in place. That also reduces rajas. Go to bed tired. That's wonderful for rajas. The person driven by too much rajas is the person who is mahashanaha, this anger, who has too much of this binding want which turns into anger. Mahashanaha means this anger is like a fire. It keeps on eating. The fire doesn't say, after it has swallowed up one village, it doesn't say, I think I need to take a break. It will go into the next village. It will just keep on spreading. You keep on putting fuel, it will keep on eating. Anger is like that. Desire, the binding desires are like that. Free wants are not like that. You can entertain them, you can fulfill them, you cannot fulfill them, it's all wonderful. Free wants are one with Bhagavan. The angered wants, the wants arising out of and trapped by this sense of lack and I have to have it and this sense of insecurity, these we have to take care of because they make me do wrong things. Mahapapma, Mahashanaha, they eat too much. I don't eat too much. The anger eats too much. The desire eats too much. And then, Vidhi enam vairinam. See them as, what is that? Inimical. And that same chapter ends with the words, Jahi Shatrum Mahabaho Kama Rupam Durasadam. Please conquer your inner enemies in the form of Kama and Krodha, anger. This is what he says. So once we recognize the problem, what to do about it? Get some space. This every child that is initiated into the Veda, in the Hindu tradition, is taught this mantra. Kamo karshit, manyurakarshit, kamah karta, nahang karta, kamah karayita, nahang karayita, manyave namo namaha. Kamaya namo namaha. Namaha, my surrender to this kama, which is making me do wrong things. The 80-year-old chants this. Every year. The 8-year-old, the 9-year-old is made to chant this after the initiation into the tradition. Kamaha akarshit. Desire made me do this. I did not do this. For a child, this is a nice way to separate. You and your desire are not one. You can observe your desire. Slowly it is taught. Manyuhu akarshit. Anger made me do this. I did not do this. Not a way of escaping responsibility, but to see that inner, to cultivating inner space. And then kama karta. Kama is the doer. Manyu means anger. Kama is the doer. Anger is the doer. Naham karta. I am not the doer. Kama karayita. Anger is the not just the direct agent of my actions, it is also the indirect agent of my action. What is the indirect agent? Like a mafia boss. Yeah, does not dirty his fingers at all. Just lifts his eyebrows, looks at somebody and goes like this, meaning off with him, finished. And the loyal, hitman will take care of it. This is so anger is the one that is the indirect actor. I am not the indirect actor. Kama is the indirect actor. Right now I seem to have no say over this kama, no say over this krodha. Tebhyam, for these two, namo namaha. I surrender. This gives a lot of inner space. It's just wonderful. And this is how one says. So you can translate this to the, to the dishwasher and to the not dishwasher, the non-dishwasher. So right now the non-dishwasher is winning. Tasmai namo namaha. When you say that, then you suddenly feel like doing the dishes. Yeah, because the other one is taken care of. It needs a little TLC. Because these are all inner children. They were all neglected. Why? No need to go there, because we don't want to leave the satsang like we did yesterday, okay? And stay in our rooms rest of the day and write me notes saying I couldn't come to your class because I was crying in my room, okay? No more of that. But these inner children are there. They need to be loved up. And you can only do that when you first cultivate inner space, and then you're able to embrace and parent this neglected, sad, mad, bad child. Yeah.
Hello again. When I was young, I had the chance to live with my grandmother, and she was very full of wisdom and with a beautiful smile too. And one day there was a man coming to the door, and he delivers goods with a bike, and it was winter and there was a lot of snow. And I felt sorry for him, he was kind of 50 years old and he was on his bike. And since I was a young child, I noticed him, delivering goods in the area.
Neighborhood, yeah.
And it was a modest area too. And I said to my grandmother, I feel sorry for this man because, he's 50 years old and he's on his bike. And but I told her, he looks kind of happy being on this bike, And she said to me this wise thing, maybe in a previous life, he was a king and he has all this kingdom and he had to take many decisions and important matters. And then he said, next life, I'm going to ride a bike and I'm going to be happy riding that bike. So my question for you is it possible that in previous life, we were having a good time, like nothing to do? And then, bang, suddenly you just end up to be, wow, life is tough. And not tough like all the time tough, but when we have big chunk of tough,
Yes.
it's just and also my daughter said, Mom, when I move out of your place, it was amazing being with you, because when I'm not anymore, it's like, shit, oh no, things happen all the times. And I say, well, that's what life is about. But what is this change of past life being in leisure and working a lot?
Yeah. Past life may not have been in leisure. We are just thinking that, yeah. if we knew our past life, this life is actually looking wonderful. Yeah, we can take it that way also. If we really knew our past life, perhaps this life is a promotion. Yes. Maybe this is, by itself it doesn't feel like a piece of cake, but if we look at all the lives that we've had, this is actually a very good life. Even though I may not know everybody, but still, all of you are here. We are here together. We are enjoying this weather, we are enjoying the ocean, we are enjoying this knowledge. Even if you're not, say yes, okay, yeah. So, we are enjoying this knowledge. And we are enjoying each other. This is a very good thing. Karma, or see, life, previous life and this life is because of what? Karma. Karma cannot give sorrow. Karma cannot give suffering. The world also is not the cause of suffering. Karma you can say I was dealt with a bad hand of cards. You can say that. Or a difficult hand of cards. Karma can give objective conditions that are difficult to overcome. Poverty, struggles in other ways. Maybe the mother and the father had too many mouths to feed. Maybe there were some other obstacles. Karma can give obstacles. But the onus of translating these obstacles into suffering is entirely on oneself. That is what is. It's all in the attitude. So, we, as a collective, we think of certain things as suffering. And that is how it gets coded in the head and socially coded. Oh, this happened to you, you must be suffering a lot. And even if the person wasn't suffering, they'll say, yeah, I think I should be suffering. We have this conditioning to look at things in a certain way, and in a certain way only. And that becomes the cause of the difficulty. And this I'll be talking about in the satsangs also. Here is a sneak taste, an appetizer of what is going to come tonight. So, my job in my life is to keep the obstacles at the objective level of obstacles to be overcome. My job is to not let them translate into suffering by vitiating my mind and creating a lot of tumult. When that happens, I have to take responsibility and let that go. Yoga is wonderful. Therapy is wonderful. These are all, therapy is a sadhana for Vedanta, really. And one becomes ready to study. Because in order to know oneself absolutely, one has to know oneself relatively as well. These are all spiritual sadhanas. And through these, I am able to get that inner space. From whatever happened, I am able to look at my whole parentage. Were they good parents? Then I can say, all right, they were not good parents, one can say. Let's say they were terrible parents. What are you going to see? I had one student, she just came to herself. She had a wonderful epiphany and said, my parents were terrible. They did all these things. Indian lady. And then she said, I'm going to tell them how terrible they were. Indian parents are made of strong stuff, I tell you. Yeah. Well, nothing phases them. First of all, it's very difficult to get them to sit down. Okay, they're not used to all this talking and all these things. They don't talk. Yeah, sit down. I want to have a talk. What do you want to talk about? We are talking all the time. What is there to talk about? There's nothing to talk about. Go study. Go to work. This is what they will say. Generally speaking, it's very difficult to have them to get engaged in that emotional space. Because they don't know how to spell emotions. All right. And so then, so somehow she did it. With great difficulty, she got them, both of them, together in the same room, sitting on the couch, and she said, "Okay, mom and dad are sitting here." And then she said, she was, I think, 27 or 28 when this conversation happened. This was many years ago. But anyhow, so she thought, it was so difficult to have this conversation. She kind of truly loved them, kind of didn't want to hurt them. So it was a very difficult place of sharing this with her mother and father. She said, "Okay, what I'm going to say may be hurtful, and I don't want you to take it badly, but you know what? You just really dropped the ball in my childhood. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. You didn't give me this. You preferred my brother to me. You preferred the other sibling to me. You did this, you did that, you didn't do." They both just dispassionately looked at her. They didn't say a word. No reaction escaped their lips. And then they looked at each other. This is all her rendition. And then they said, "Well, fine. We did all those things. But then we have made you, we have educated you, and you are brave enough to tell us these things. So that means you have the ability, you have the wherewithal to get over it. Get over it." Get a life, She thought she was going to leave them all speechless, but she came out speechless. And strangely speaking, they were right, objectively speaking. So you see, it has very funny consequences. When we think we are going to do this, we are going to write this, we are going to write that. The only thing I can write is myself. Right? Yeah. That's all I can do. I can't be responsible for anybody else. And and then these kinds of situations, you don't know how the other person is going to respond. And so therefore, I learned to be objective. Just like the parents were very dispassionate. They said, "Yeah, we were not perfect." Yeah, they said. So what? You're old enough to tell us this. That means you're old enough to get over this. Get a life. Yeah. And so this is something which we have to learn, to have that space. And then we invite Ishvara into our lives in the form of the difficult parentage. That itself is Ishvara. And then with the difficult beginnings, we see as Ishvara, we Ishvarize the universe. I'll be talking about this more in satsang. As I said, this is an appetizer. Yeah. This is just to increase the appetite. So we Ishvarize the universe. Here an Ishvara, there an Ishvara, everywhere Ishvara, Ishvara. Old Mac Jiva had had a complaint, many complaints. So when we see it like that, you transcend these two people who you thought were your parents. And they are just, you see them as two individuals having their own struggles. You're not trying to think for them, you're not trying to make excuses for them, no. You just are able to see them objectively. And then you see yourself also and your responses also objectively. Yes, this was a response coming from a hurt child, but I'm no longer hurt and I'm no longer a child. Both these things are true. And so the adult has to hug that inner child that got dropped, literally or figuratively, sometimes both. That child which got dropped has to be hugged. And even though it is very tempting to give it to somebody else to babysit, don't do that, because then they will have 5 children they put on your lap to babysit. You be responsible for your own inner children and let them be responsible for theirs. That is how you turn the table on suffering and make it into just something that happened to me that was not very pleasant. That's all. That's the objective way to look at it. Karma is compulsory, suffering is optional. Where is the mic?
So, yeah, Thanks again so much for, you're just a really wonderful presence. So my question is about sin. In my faith, it's kind of all about, we're sinners, and we need to absolve ourselves of our sins, and so we can kind of purify ourselves and be in a position to, worthily praise the divine. And this faith doesn't seem to be, so it's not a theological question, it's more kind of a life.
Yeah.
How do we think about that?
Yeah. We don't have the concept of sin. Papa, we say, it's not sin. It is wrong actions and the result of wrong actions which lead to uncomfortable situations in the here or the hereafter. This is what we call Papa. So then, there is already there is so much Papa. We also say that there is Papa because I don't get whatever I want. Why? Because there is an obstacle. Another name for obstacle is Papa. And so the previous actions, the results of previous action inhibit my goals, the ambitions, etc. This is what it does. So therefore, we say that every prayer starts with the intention, please Lord, reduce the burden of this Papa. Why? So that I can think clearly. Wrong thinking is also because of Papa and all this. So I can think clearly. I can go about my life dispassionately without being caught up in things and situations. So please make me ready for this knowledge. That is the best prayer. That is the prayer of a freedom seeker, mumukshu. This is something which is there. We also say that the purification is needed. Why? Because there are strong prejudices and preferences, and the more we succumb to these strong prejudices and preferences, then the more we go away from dharma. Dharma means righteous living. Righteous living is a manifestation of God, and so therefore, if I'm not in righteous living, I become far away from God. So we also say we need to improve the purification. And the purification happens through prayer and reaching out actions. I think in essence, there is not that much difference. It's a terminology, and then we don't have something called original sin unless we are talking about ignorance. Maybe that is the original sin. We don't have original sin. We don't have that concept. So therefore, in a way, it is a kind of a accountability without needing to feel hopeless. Because yes, I am a fallible human being. I may do many, many things that are wrong. But then I can recover from that. I can retrace my steps. I can atone for whatever wrong I have done. Even in your faith, there is atonement. Even in our tradition, there is atonement. This is all for having an internal purity, because of which I can receive this knowledge. What is this knowledge? I'm non-separate from Ishvara. That is the knowledge. I don't know if that's what you wanted to hear. Okay.
Thank you. Could you just tell us a little bit about your own personal spiritual history?
I'm a very ordinary person. Yeah. The story is ordinary. Everything is ordinary. The spiritual history begins when the questions outnumber the answers and you seek help. That is what I did. And my teacher, I was very fortunate to meet him. And he was just amazing, amazing. He took me under his wing. He taught me everything I know and still continues to teach, even though he's not in this body. He's Shivam's teacher too. And so this kind of a teaching doesn't come every day. and it takes great grace to be able to to receive it. And I feel very, very blessed. The first time I met him, it was a very interesting meeting. So many people were going in his room, coming out, wreathed in smiles, very happy. Swamiji held my hand, one said. Swamiji patted me on the shoulder, another one said. Third one said, Swamiji touched my head. Swamiji looked at me very kindly and smiled. And it was just so, I could hardly wait my turn. I said, oh, wow, this is wonderful. This is exactly what I want. This is what I need. I am going to Swamiji for the first time. This is so wonderful. And the lady who takes care of him, she gave me a cup of tea. She said, so that I could sit with him for longer. I thought, oh, great blessing. I'm going to take this tea and give it to Swamiji. So I took the tea, and then I just forgot about the tea. I just put it on my lap, the tea tray, because I was so enamored by seeing it. He, being always very kind, he reached out and said, I think that is for me. I said, yes, Swamiji, please take. So I gave him the cup and the saucer. He was holding it. And then he just said, I said, I would like to study with you. In fact, this is the only life that I want. He said, yeah, that's nice. That's wonderful. You can study with me. Don't leave your job or anything. I said, Swamiji, it's too late. I already left my job. And so he was so shocked. It's very hard to shock him, Yeah, he was not a person easily startled. He spilled a little bit of this tea. And then the kind, benign Swamiji turned into something else. He said, what? You left your job? Who's going to take care of you? And you're going to who's going to take care of you? And you have so much education, you have so much qualifications, what are you going to do with your whole life? And I was like, OMG, other people are getting pats on the back, other people are getting pats on the shoulder, other people are getting beatific looks and smiles, and this is in my lot? So then I just said, okay, time to go. Backtrack. And so I just, and even before he finished his tea and he said, okay, we'll see later. It was over. He said, this is, what will the society think? He said, what will other people think? That you are an able-bodied young woman. And here you are wanting this life. When you can have such a wonderful life, why do you want this life? And so I left. And then I did not even talk to the lady who takes care of him. I said, okay, I'm going to go back to my room. You're not telling me what happened. And I said, it did not go well. I think I need to go to my room. She said, no. She asked me what happened. I said, he just yelled. And then she said, so... She said, no. I just think, with people who he knows are serious, he just does these things sometimes. Just wait here only, don't go. I said, but I really need to go. I don't think I should wait here. She said, no, in half an hour he will come out, he'll have another cup of tea and he has to go somewhere. We were in Anekatti in the southern India ashram, which is 1 hour away from everything, and even a boutique. And then... So then, he was going to the city to give a talk. So he had asked me a few questions. He said, so you left your job? I said, yes. What did you bring? I said, 2 suitcases and a cat, because I didn't know what to do with the cat. So then he just repeated it, 2 suitcases and cats. He said like that. And then he let me go. So then he came out again and I was just hanging in the back. I didn't want to be seen at all. I said, no, this Swamiji is just a little frightening Swamiji. And stood in the back. And then after that, what happened was that, he had his tea, He got up to leave, and then everybody swarmed around him like fruit flies on a banana. He's the banana, okay, yeah. And then after that, he got into his car, which was right outside his quarters. It had pulled up. And then everybody went to say goodbye. I again hung in the back with the caregiver. I would not go in the front at all. I didn't want to be anywhere near. And I didn't want to be seen. And then the car almost started, and I said, I was about to exhale. And then the car stopped. He rolled down the window and he's looking around, and the crowd that had started to disperse came again. And then, what do you want, Swamiji? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? He didn't answer. He kept looking, pointed to me in the distance. Come. And I was like, maybe there is somebody behind me. But there was nobody behind me except a wall. Okay. And so, and Chandrama, the lady who takes care of him, she's 95 now. And I met her in Rishikesh recently after a long time. We exchanged some lovely stories. So she literally pushed me. She said, go, go, go. So then hesitantly I approached the car, and then he said, you can come with me. Please get in. So I got in the back. Wordlessly we traveled for 1 hour. He didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. I had even forgotten to wear shoes. I was bare feet. I had no idea where we were going. I had no idea. Nobody said anything. So then at some point, after 1.5 hours of going through the villages and then coming to the city and even going a little bit beyond the city, then we came to some hall where he was supposed to be giving a talk. And then he said, we got off. I still didn't know what was happening, but everybody was in police uniforms. So then I understood that the police academy had invited him to give a talk about the salience of Vedanta in people's life. And since it's a Tamil-speaking country, the whole conversation, the lecture was in Tamil, which I do understand, which I can speak. So then he just looked around, the whole crowd took it all in, everybody sat down, and then I also sat down somewhere, and then he started slowly. He said, it is for the sake of this knowledge that people give up their jobs in their young life and then come to this knowledge with a suitcase and a cat. I felt so absorbed. I wanted to stand up and dance on the chair. I was like, yay, yippee. And I had a silly smile on my face. The whole time I could not wipe it off. And then we came on the way back. He was very genial and wonderful and very nice. And yes, so wonderful. That is how my journey began. Yeah. Cat stayed in the ashram. Yeah. Somebody who could take care of it, very kind people, they took care of it. That's a nice place to be. And that is the beauty of Swamiji. This is how he would be. Enough? Yes? Okay? Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet, asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amritangamaya. Om purnamadah purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnamevavashishyate. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.